All right, there is a few people doing stories on this story, reporting on this story. I'll say the tragic event of Justin Fairfax, and I'm just looking at it from a man's point of view, actually, from a divorced man's point of view, from a man that you know has been through the ringer, through the system. And I hate it. It's too much for TikToky. They can't handle it. Only up to a certain point. They say I'm talking about it too much, or something like that. Although I'm just going deeper into it. That's the attempt. So it's just looking at it from the point of view to summarize it and make it simple. It's just that um, they kick you when you're down. I'm gonna have to just add those clips to this. I've already reported on this to an extent, so in a way, they're right, but I'm going deeper into it. That's the thing about it. I'm not just talking about the exact same thing over and over again. Although it seems, they have no problem with people talking about the same thing over and over again on some things, but other things not so much. Anyhow, uh, according to his wife, because it says right as you can see, Justin Fairfax was an alcoholic, not paying child support or mortgage, wife claimed, and was due in court days after murder suicide. Now, the woman has been taken out by the man, and she's no longer with us. So, in no disrespect intended, all respect due, but we bring these things on ourselves looking back, which she can't. She's not here anymore. But what I'm saying, you putting all these proceedings on this man. He's being served with divorce papers. Y'all living in the same house. He have 2 days a week visitation with his children. I read through a lot of this. That's why I wanted to um, understand, because I don't know the specifics. I know enough to know that all of us that go through these similar things, the similarities are there. The basic core structure, the pattern is there, but the details, yeah, it's going to be different. But clearly, this man has lost control. It's on him. I'll say that all a zillion times. You can't depend on nobody but yourself. You depend on this woman to hold it together for you, or any woman, any person to hold you together. Well, you're sorrowfully mistaken. It probably won't happen. You'll be very lucky if you could find someone that's that way, that's just willing to sacrifice and all that. And maybe that's a good thing, and maybe it's not a good thing. We on our own in this world. We got to figure this out for ourselves. At the end of the day, eventually you're gonna have to figure it out on your own by yourself without anybody holding your hand. You know, but when you're married, you figure you have a little bit of grace. I didn't hear the grace part, the part where she was holding it together while it was going through those tough times or whatever. I just hear a lot of he wasn't doing this, he wasn't doing that. You know, what are you doing? What were you doing? Not to mention you living in the house with him, or you allowing him to live in the house with you, however it goes. While you doing all these drastic things and bringing down holy hell on this man, you know what it is, you know? You might want to not be in the same place with him. Even though a man will track you down or a woman will track you down wherever you at across the country and find you, you know? So living in the same house is not very wise. And you see the things that's going on, that he's losing it, and you still coming down on the hammer with him, wanting him to pay almost $2,000 a month for the bills when he got no money. You want child support, like he's paying child support. Y'all live in the same house. It's diabolical. But he got no money. He had no income, or it's nearly zero. You know, and painting him in a bad light. And the fact need to know, okay, he's alleged by her to be, and I mean, it probably was alcoholic, but they're weaponizing it, you know. That's your husband, though. For better or for worse, even if you want to leave him, you ain't got to weaponize it. It sounds like he wasn't doing nothing to you up until he did something to you, but it seems like nothing wasn't going on. The police was called, but he called them and said she did something, and apparently she didn't do it, or it wasn't no evidence of it, or whatever. I really like to see that body cam footage so I can know. But anyway, yeah, I'm doing it my way. They doing it their way. Here it is. Okay, so need to know: Justin Fairfax and his wife Cerina were engulfed in a messy divorce when he killed himself. Now, hey, I looked it up because I want to, what do you mean? Why is it messy? That one say fight. You should fight for your kids. Fight who? Who am I fighting? Why is it just not a clean divorce? Why it's got to be messy? Why is it not a neat divorce? What's making it be messy? A messy divorce involves high conflict, prolonged legal battles, intense emotional distress, and often disputes over assets or child custody. Key indicators include toxic communication, financial sabotage, and using children as pawns, which can result in long-term trauma and high legal fees. Strategy and limiting emotion in decisions are crucial. So you see what it is. High conflict, poor communication, all of these are present. Toxic communication, financial sabotage. He was financially sabotaged. They're saying, like, I heard somebody trying to belittle or discredit, belittle, take away, I don't know, like say that, yeah, he was attacked politically, but like kind of like he should just get over that. But that was a financial sabotage. It was a sabotage for his political career, which also financially sabotaged him, which sabotaged his family structure. Without the money, wifey ain't trying to hear it. Wifey signed up for $1 million mansion, kids in private school, when they had kids, and they had them, kids in private school, horseback riding lessons, lacrosse, whatever, $1 million house. 4 people, $1 million house. I think that's a bit much, but common nasty tactics. Okay. Taking money from joint accounts, hiding assets, changing locks, sabotaging communication, and attempting to embarrass the spouse. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what she is attempting to do. He ain't in no shape to be trying to embarrass nobody. I mean, other than presenting in the way that he is, but dude's falling apart. Clearly, he was falling apart, and he fell apart. But you're looking at it, and you want to see it, but you don't realize the real extent of it. Name calling, trauma for all, emotional toll often involves high conflict legal battles, name calling, and trauma for all parties involved, including children. Trauma. You're taking this for a game. Ha ha ha. Let me kick him when he down. He broke. He a deadbeat. He ain't got no money. He ain't paying this. He drink all day with piles of stuff all around him. I'm not cleaning that up. Children may be used as messengers or witnesses to fighting. Well, and well, these are the things that you can see that they advise, you know, to avoid that. Wait, no, I wasn't there. So all that's trauma. He was definitely going through it, and call it what you want to. I was saying this like as I'm realizing you can't. Well, you can call people a punk or this or that or whatever, because they can't handle what you can handle at the level that you can handle it. But that's their breaking limit. That's their pressure point. That's how much pressure they can take. And if it ain't all right, it's all right. It's got to be. They can't take, okay, you're supreme God, whatever, I am, whoever, and they're not. They're weak. They're weak. They're a punk. All that. And that's just the way it is. That's gonna break them to the point where pressure bust pipes. That's their pressure limit. They crack, they bust, they explode, people getting hurt, people losing their lives. That's the result of that. So you have to realize that you thought, I mean, she's gone. You thought that he could take all that pressure, and it was funny, ha ha ha. Let me crush him. I mean, don't play like women don't do this. That's what I'm saying. And it's unfortunate that this woman is not here anymore. She can't defend herself and say, no, I wasn't doing that. But clearly she was. Clearly she was. Just from the things that you see, doing it the way she did it. That's what it is. It's not empathy up in that. I'm not getting that. I'm just saying. Because if it was, it wouldn't be a messy divorce anyway. She claimed he failed to pay child support. They living in the same house and other expenses, even as he spent their money on luxuries. Now, some of it I don't know. It's accusations and things like implying that I guess he still had a side piece or whatever. But it's conflicting. If he was in that room all day like that, drinking all day, piles of stuff hanging around, I don't see how he got no side piece and going on the vacations or whatever it is that she was implying. It's an implication at that. It's not really saying it, you know. Yeah, so I'm back. Well, I never left. Um, yeah, this ain't really, once again, this ain't so much about Justin Fairfax, man. He's one man, and this is one situation, or Cerina, rest in peace. But it's not about that. It's just about how men are handled, how women are allowed to be able to handle men, and at the end of the day, the trauma, the stress, the effects on the children are disregarded. The effects on a man are always disregarded by everybody. And if and when they crash out to this extent, I mean, it's talk about trauma. This is the ultimate traumatic experience. Next to, I mean, well, it is. It just is. There's the other case with the 8 children, but it's sort of the same thing. I want to get into that. Maybe I'll dive into that separately because I don't want to make this extra long by combining that into one thing as I've done before, on the lives on TikTok. And I'll see if I can put that into this. But anyway, I just want to, like this is the allegations, like the way that it was presented. As much as possible, the same thing was done to me, you know. And I'm older than this dude, probably by about 10 years or so, give or take 10, 12 years, whatever. Justin Fairfax was a drunk man, used children's money to buy guns, scary divorce details after wife Cerina's death. That's, allegations have surfaced in his wife's divorce filings. These are allegations, smear campaigns, and it's messed up. And I decided to title this Unintended Consequences of Crushing a Man. Crushing a man's spirit, crushing a man's soul, crushing a man, I'm deciding it's gonna be whatever it is, but like sometimes you could be signing your own unalive certificate. Do I have to still say that? I think I'm gonna mix it up. You don't want to overuse certain words. Maybe you could say them, but definitely don't want to overuse them. Yeah, pause it and read it. I'm just gonna put this up. Divorce. Let me browse through it. I don't want to read the whole thing. It'll take all day. Divorce filings detail deadbeat behavior. Court records reviewed by the outlet allege that Fairfax struggled with alcohol abuse and exhibited erratic behavior before Cerina filed for divorce in 2025. And let me say it again. If I didn't, let me just stress it again. Like, if you're gonna file a divorce, you need, they're supposed to have been separated. I don't know what kind of shenanigans that is. You need to be separate, not living in the same house. They shouldn't even make any exceptions unless I mean, if that's the rule, that's the rule. Like they said, if sometimes you need a divorce and you don't want to wait, you don't need to be separated. It's time right now, right now. So there is that. But that can be the case if you living in the house with him for all that time. That's what I'm just trying to say. Like, like she should have left. If you can't say that he's totally responsible for the bills being behind, for this being, the mortgage being behind. You're there too. You got to leave. But you're following these divorces. You, whoever, not just this one. Like I said, many. This is on the table right now. But you're filing for divorce. You're gonna attack this man. Women do what they do. They allow this. They encourage this, and she feels scorned. She even threw in the thing about the false allegations. But I was saying, like, you got to leave. You can't be there in the same house, and you attacking this person through the system. You're trying to attack their livelihood, their money, their everything. You're taking everything away from this man. He's not gonna be able to live. He's gonna be homeless. He's gonna have to go. He's gonna have to humble himself to a place where I don't think he wants to do. He thought that he was, he was the lieutenant governor. The hell you think he want to go sleep on somebody? Now he gonna be sleeping on somebody's sofa, like. But once again, these things are on him. He should have been able to get out of that on his own. But I can't put my strengths and weaknesses on someone else. That's what I was saying yesterday too. Not just about those people, but whoever. Everybody can't take the same amount of pressure. And then he's in so much of debt. Like, I think he had $300,000 between him and his wife, though. That's the thing. They be combined. Everything keep getting combined between him and his wife. $300,000 worth of student loan debts. That's both of them, though. Both. They're saying it like it was just him. Like, he's total, but I mean that's probably the way it's gonna go. He's gonna be the one to have to pay it. Well, would have been. Um, yeah. So pause it, read it, or I guess find the times, and that's that. And yeah. So make sure you're somewhere else. Be safe. You can't be doing that and be in the house with the dude. That's how the dude with the other lady. Like, you're gonna destroy this man. You know that he's barely making it. Any child support, like, through the system, they're gonna attack. Like, they're gonna make you be homeless. Just you got 8 children or 7 children. So, like, how you gonna do that? You gotta be like, they'll find you, but you need to be not in the same house living with them. You can't be in having relations and all that. You can't be doing that, because that's some of that's leading on. Just even being in the same house, though, watching, you want to see this person fall apart. Anyhow, I guess I'm sort of getting repetitive now, but anyhow, so yeah, I'm not gonna play it, because I don't know what the rules. They got all these different rules and stuff, but yeah, to me, these guys are apparently following orders. They're following their wife's orders, like I be saying. And then when things don't work out the right way, they don't have a plan. They was just following wife's orders. Do this, do that. You need to be this. You need to, to me, cause you wouldn't fall apart like this. Man, people have fell way worse and picked itself back up. But people have fell less and have done the same thing. Yeah, pause and read it. I you have to be able to economize. And what I'm saying, you have to, all that, the horseback riding lessons, that's over with. We moving out of this house. Like, he should have been able, but he wasn't able to. Obviously, he should have been able to call those shots to streamline that shit, to be able to not be in that debt. But he in there, drinking it up, losing it, losing his mind, losing himself. And I don't think wifey helped none, as far as I could tell. And they said there, but like I said, pause and read it. And the next one, I just wanted to get to this one. This is the one that basically he was broke. He didn't have any money. And that was a hint when he bought that gun. If you hadn't left already, that's when you should have. What are you going? What do you think he's gonna do? Why do you think he's buying this gun? They're not thinking logically. He ain't got no money. He broke. He on his ass. He in the room drinking. The room dirty. Dirty clothes, wine bottles, yada 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 yada. All this deadbeat. He buying a gun, and you just gonna stick around? Oh Lord, I don't know what that is. Yeah, you got the streamline. Get out. Ain't no sorry. No more horseback riding lessons, kids. That has fell off. And if I can fall back on, the lessons will start again. You can't do this unless mom's gonna pay for them. Contentious divorce. There's that messy divorce shit again. Police acknowledge the messy divorce. I think I went through it all where you can pause it and read it, or find it. Police acknowledge the messy divorce was likely to blame for Thursday's bloodshed that saw Fairfax repeatedly shoot his wife in the basement in their home before turning the weapon on itself. Okay, so yeah, that's that, and that's all I got to say on it. I hope I made my point. If you're gonna do that, you got to leave. You can't be doing that, and you want to. I witnessed this man's self destruction. Sorry, you don't get to. You could do that, but you might his destruction might be your destruction. You got to leave. You got to leave. He got to leave. Somebody, y'all can't be together like that. And I just think, and we need to do more for men. Men need to do more for themselves. Stop worrying about whatever the stigma is. Whatever they say this, they say that. You're weak. It is. Man, look, you got to stand on your own too. You know, you got to stand on your own too. You can't let these people um control your mind like that. You know what I mean? People controlling our mind and got us like we can't make a move unless they authorize it. That's all I got. I've made this too long now, but it needs to be what it is, and it is what it is. So that's all I got. Till next time, I'm out, and peace.